Welcome to the Inside Track on Real Estate with the Dekker Team. I'm Yetta Dekker.
And I'm Ken Dekker.
And together we form part of the Dekker Team at Keller Williams Solid Rock Realty. We are here today to talk about the most commonly asked question in real estate, and that is, how is the market? We continue to want to be your resource and show you the information, tell you what is going on so that you are a well-informed buyer, seller, investor, or just in general well-informed so you know when is a good time to act and maybe when a good time not to act is within the real estate world or realm. And so today, Ken, we're going to talk in general a little bit about inventory levels, interest rates, condition of properties, and even the whole staging thing, how that fits in, especially this time of year, the things that have been off the market and are back on the market, and just in general that way, and then specific numbers in neighborhoods as well. So Ken, what would you say is the one thing that people have to think about when they're thinking about the real estate market? When they ask that question, how's the market? What's the one thing?
Well, I think, first of all, you got to ask, how's the market in relation to if you're a buyer? If you're a buyer, the market's fantastic. If you're a seller, well, it's okay.
Depends on the neighborhood.
Exactly. And your pricing. So there is a lot of inventory still, and buyers are having a great time because as a buyer, you've got a wide selection of properties. With that many properties on the market, the price has not been creeping up quickly. It's been going up very slowly. And what that means is very stable prices, lots of inventory, and the good news is the interest rates are significantly low. So all of that creating some affordability, which is great to see.
It's really great to see. So in terms of inventory, what is that thing in this time of year? Because we're sitting here in February, moving into March. And what happens this time of year in relation to inventory?
Okay, well, typically inventory is going up. And you'll notice inventory in January, by the end of January, went up more than it was at the end of December. And it's going to continue to grow. The inventory will continue to grow until we get to probably about June, July, and then the inventory starts dropping off a little bit again. But what else is interesting is that historically, the highest average sale price is seen in April and May. Now, that may be just because there's more demand. People get that spring fever, a little more emotional. And it also could be just more of the bigger houses sell, the ones with bigger lots, bigger
price tags.
Maybe they sell when it's in that spring market. And so because of that, our average sale price historically over the last 5 years, every May, June, the average sale price is higher than the other months.
Right. And then inventory, part of the inventory conversation is that a lot of folks will take their homes off the market. Let's say they were on the market last year for 150 days or maybe even 200 days, and then they will come off in December, January, and then February to April, somewhere in that timeline, they bring them back on the market. So although the days on market is looking really good when we look at just days on market during that listing period, it's not giving you the whole story, because the whole story lies a little bit in the cumulative days on market.
Yeah, so the average days on market is still around that 45 days of the listing period. That doesn't mean they weren't listed before.
For 150, 200, 300 days even. Yeah.
But it's typically 45 days from the time that the property is listed. So if you'd like your property to sell in April, May, or June, then the time to put it up for sale is right now. And we're finding more and more that our clients that are coming to us and saying, we need the Dekker Team experience to get our home sold, they're finding that that's happening because they're coming to us after it's not sold.
Some of them. Not our previous clients. Our current clients and previous clients stayed with us, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But there are some clients that are coming to us and they've tried with either for sale by owner or another real estate firm or whatever, and they haven't had success. And we're seeing more and more vacant houses. Mm-hmm. And our requirement for our staging furniture is even higher now because they have a vacant house. They need some furniture, some paintings, just to give it that homey warmth, which really helps in a sale than a cold vacant house.
Well, your home actually sells for more when it is prepared well and looks like somebody could live in it.
Exactly.
Right.
And the
ambiance matters.
Yeah, it does. It's emotion. Yeah. People make buying decisions with their heart. They filter down with their head, but the final one they buy is generally, it's an emotional decision from the heart. I feel like it's the right place for me to live in. It's going to be where I grow my family, or I can see myself here. You know, I see people when we're showing properties, if they sit down in the couch and they visualize themselves living there, then I know that's the house for them. It's really interesting.
Yeah. So in terms of inventory, we've got to be cognizant that a lot of what's coming on the market now has been on the market.
Some of it has, yes. Yeah, some people took their properties off sale for, didn't sell it, took it off in December or January, a couple months off, and those are just starting to trickle back on. So I may see, even though the inventory was still the highest I've seen, it rose again in January. Not necessarily condos. Condos kind of flattened out, but freeholds, the inventory was still climbing, even though we had a pretty good sales month in January. So let's look at those stats.
Okay. So for January, we had January 2015, because we now have so many shows that you could be watching a show on Market Update for January and it's a different year. Right? So we want to be careful that you're watching the show, and we'll be careful to timeline it for you. So this is stats from January 2015. I think I said 2014, didn't I? 2015? My brain's all over the place. So anyway, January 2015 sales stats for the Ottawa Real Estate Board. So that's the entire board.
Yep. And we're going to talk about freehold first.
Yeah. 513
sales compared to 450 last year. Now, last year was a little lower. 513, is still just slightly below the 5-year average. But it's a strong month because the 2 years prior to that were less.
Right.
So 450 last year. So that's a 14% increase in sales in January, and it was a pretty cold month.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it'll be interesting to see what February shows, because February was just, it's been
very cold.
It's like really cold right now. And the average sale price, $370,000.
442.
Okay, that's
the girl that's not about the specifics.
Yeah, thank
is
you.
Giving you the specifics. The guy that's all about the details left them out.
Yeah.
Anyway, which is only a 0.5% of an increase over what a home would have sold for on average.
The previous January.
In January 2014.
So month over month.
Yeah.
0.5%. That's what I was saying. The market very, very stable in that freehold.
Right.
3/4 of the sales
are under 450.
Yeah. Now that's still a lot of money. That's almost $500,000, right? We talk about it like it's not that much.
Well, it's because the Ottawa market has been stable for so long and really forever, and I suspect will continue to be. And so therefore 450 in a market where it's not uncommon to see a home for 600 or 700 or 800. Right? And yet we need to know that from 451 and up, only 25% of the homes are selling above 450.
Yes.
Right? 451 and up.
And so I think why we think 450 is not that huge a deal, although it is for many people, the interest rate being so low makes the payment significantly less than it would be if interest rates were, say, double, around 7-8%.
And even that's not low.
No, that's not high.
That is low, because anything under double digit has always been perceived to be a really good interest rate.
Yeah, so we're down, 3% or under 3% for 5-year money. That's it's almost free. Almost
not quite.
Free money.
And so therefore it makes your actual monthly payment way less than if you had bought a home when the interest rates were at 15%, even though the homes were selling for significantly less at that time. That was about 20 odd years ago now, when they were right around the 15% mark. At that time, well, maybe a little more than 15 years, but anyway, some years ago, and your monthly payment was really almost what it is today on a much more expensive home.
And let me go on a little bit of a trail here.
A piggy trail?
No, not a piggy trail. We're on the inside track. We're going on a little train track over here.
Okay.
The interesting thing is if you look at amortization schedules, if you have, say, 8% or 3% interest, and your amortization is out over, say, 25 years. Amortization means amortization, which means the death of your mortgage. So it takes 25 years to kill your mortgage off, basically, is what that means. What's interesting is in the first year, if you have 8-10%, in the first year you pay very little principal off because it's mostly interest. The payment's probably double what it would be at 3%.
Oh, more than double.
And the majority of that is interest. So you pay down significantly less money of the principal. Now with 3% interest, it's almost half right at the beginning. So if you have a $1,500 mortgage payment, then really what you're looking at is about $700 of that is going right into your bank account because it's paying down the principal of the mortgage and you're building equity inside your house. Now I call it a bank account, but it's not really a bank account. And don't you dare refinance to buy a car out of your house because you're using the equity in there as an ATM, right? A giant ATM machine. Not a great thing to do. It's okay if you want to leverage sometimes to do some investments once you've got a bunch of equity built up in your house, give your house a job. And Canadians historically have been starting to take out every 5 years money out of their house to pay their consumerism, and that's not building wealth. And we're all about building wealth, especially through real estate.
Yeah, it works really well.
Okay, so just that little sidetrack there, it's really important to know a lot of your mortgage payment is going straight to principal pay down and building that equity in your house.
Right, which is fantastic. So the interest rates are doing us all kinds of favors, even favors that we're not really necessarily cognizant of or knowingly taking advantage of. We get to take advantage of them, which is really cool, eh, Ken?
It is.
Yeah. If you want a little more information on the whole concept of building wealth within real estate, we've got a couple of opportunities for you. One is, if you haven't already read one of Ken's books, whether you're one of our clients or whether you're somebody that we haven't yet met that will be one of our clients, you could get a copy of his book at amazon.ca?
.com.
Both?
Yeah, I think maybe both.
And it is called The Wealth Formula, or you can pick one up at either of our offices at 1 and Terry, Suite 110. And if you let us know you're coming, we'll make sure you get a signed copy.
Yeah, and it's actually less expensive if you pick it up.
Right. And or at our Manotick location, which is where the Dekker team hangs out, which is 5497 Manotick, Maine. And there is pretty much somebody here at both offices all day, every day, except Sunday at the Dekker team office in Manotick. And so if you want a copy, it's only $20 if you're picking it up. And if you are ordering it from Amazon, I think it is $26.95 plus tax, plus shipping. Yeah. And so if you want a bargain and building wealth, there you go. And it talks about a lot more than just real estate. And yet that is obviously an amazing avenue and one that we've personally used. So we're talking from personal experience in the book. And I say we, although Ken's name is on the title, we all got to know that I had a lot to do with it.
Yes.
Hey, Ken?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So if you're just joining us now on the Inside Track on Real Estate with the Dekker team, we've been talking about the real estate market in January 2015, and we're going to continue to do that, give you some insights in general and some specifics on exactly what's happening in our Ottawa and area market. So now new listings, what's happening there?
Well, inventory's up in freehold. 4,100 houses for sale actively at the end of January 2015 compared to 3,700 active for sale at the end of January 2014. So that's an increase of 10.8%. That's a significant jump in the amount of inventory. Now, interesting enough, 11,270 houses sold in 2014. So that puts us at about 4.3 months inventory. Now, historically, January inventory is lower than March, April, May, or whatever.
So we're going
our
to see
inventory's
that's
starting
not
to climb.
actually.
So that number will creep up as we get more houses
Right.
on the market. But it is truth though, because the amount of houses that are for sale exactly right now, if no other ones came on for sale, it would take 4.3 months
Right. And
to
yet,
liquidate those.
right. And yet we know it's going to.
Oh yeah, lots are going to come on.
Right. And so if we look at that, we've got 4,100 homes on the market. And in January, we had almost that. 4,100 homes on the market right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we only sold 513 in January. That's more like 9 months worth of inventory.
Yep.
Right. And so that's very much a buyer's market. So when we're talking months of inventory on the market, it is very relative to what time frame and what month we're talking about. So the inventory right now is lower than it will be in a few months. Now the number of homes that are selling will go up as well. And yet if we base it on the current inventory and the current homes that sold in the last 30 days, we're looking at about 9 months of inventory.
Which is a buyer's market.
Which is a buyer's market. So just a quick refresher for those that haven't heard a whole lot of our Inside Track on Real Estate shows or watched, is that anything from 0 to 3 months would be very much a seller's market of inventory. So if an average home there was less than 3 months worth of inventory at a given time, it is absolutely a seller's market. From sort of 4 to 6 months, it's a balanced market, sitting somewhere in there where prices are going up, inventory stable, everything's moving as it should. If we get 7 to 9 months, we're certainly looking at a buyer's market. And then when we move beyond 9 months, so 10 and beyond, which there's certainly been over the history of my time in real estate, times where I would tell you, and even specific neighborhoods right now, that there is more than 9 months worth of inventory. So that specific neighborhood would be what I would call a depressed market. Right?
Yeah.
Just a good basic understanding, because it really helps to have that as background information.
So for buyers, great time to find a home. Now, I did pull a little small area because one of the things we do for our clients and our future clients, if they want updates on a particular area, then we'll set up a search for you.
That's custom
to your house, your neighborhood, and you can see what the market's doing in relation to your property. So I did pull up Central Park just to see, a small little area, see what's really going on in there. There's 20 active properties for sale.
Right.
In the last 12 months, there's been 69 sold. Okay. So what does that work out to? I don't know. It's pretty good, actually. So the active properties are 442,900, and the sold average was 392.
Right.
Okay. Very, very close. That doesn't mean that those properties
are coming down $50,000.
No, but it just means more lower price homes sell than higher price ones, so it brings down that average. Again, 33 days on average in that area from the time they were listed or relisted to the time they're sold. And the previous 12 months, prior to that 12 months, 61 sales. So we actually had 8 more sales in this 12-month period compared to the previous 12 months. And prices went up slightly. Average was $389.9 compared to $392, so like $3,000, just under 1%, which is what the market's doing. So Central Park's right on par.
Which is kind of nice to know. So if you do want a specific search, how would they go about doing that, Ken?
Well, there's a couple ways. They can email us and or call us, and we'll give us the particulars. You can call 613-860-4663, and we'll get that information from you so that we can put it into our database and start sending information. The other way is we have this great app, and this app is phenomenal. And if you want our app for either types of smartphones, your iPhone or your Google type phones, what you want to do is connect with us via email at info@dekkerteam.com. That's INFO.
Right, and just ask for app. Maybe we should set up a new email address. It's app@Dekker.
Well, maybe we should, but we haven't yet, so don't say that on air.
I just did.
Yeah, I know you just did. So if you email us, then we will...
info@dekkerteam.com.
Right, and just in the title put app in the subject matter.
That would be perfect.
And we'll send out the information how to get our customized app. And the beauty with this is no matter where you are, it's you can click on it. It pulls up all the properties that are for sale, not just Dekker Team, but all companies, all properties. And it tells you how far away it is from where you are, and you can map it, and you can get the map, and you can draw a circle of where you're interested, and it shows you all the houses that are for sale, all the particular details. And then if you want to contact us or call us, it's a one button if you want to see it or get more information. So it's a really great application.
And a really easy way to stay informed of what's going on in your specific neighborhood. Now, we will also, if you're connecting with us, your search that we send you that will be set up and customized for you will also include the sold information.
Yes, the app does not do
so
that.
The app is for active property, so you can stay abreast of what's going on in your neighborhood. And
Or if you're just looking for a property.
Or if you're looking for a property, it's fantastic,
yeah.
right? And if you want to just start to build history, the really amazing thing with this custom search that we can send you is you can keep it in your history. You can mark favorites. You can make comments. You can have a 3-year history, a 5-year history, a 10-year history, whatever you need to stay informed in the real estate market.
I want to go back to the app for a second.
Okay.
Do you know what's really cool about the app? Is even if you're driving in Toronto or it's a Canadian real estate feed. So if you're in Vancouver or Calgary and you're driving around and you think, hey, I wonder what property's worth here, because I don't know, I do it. Maybe it's just because I'm a real estate agent.
No, I don't think only. I know lots of people that do it.
And you can click on our app, and it'll pull up all the houses around you, and you can start to see what houses are for sale. Or if you're driving by one of those for sale signs, and you go, I wonder what that's for sale. You pull up your app, and it's the top one, because it's the closest to where you are. It's so easy to find information on properties. It's really cool. So you really want our app? Give us a call. No, don't give us a call. Email us, info@dekkerteam.com, and get a copy of our personalized app. That would be great.
That would be perfect. So now let's talk about condominium sales.
Yes.
Because we haven't done that.
No, we haven't yet.
Okay.
Condominium sales? Wow, if you're looking...
Could you be a little more enthusiastic?
Well, I wish the market was a little more enthusiastic towards condos. If you're a buyer for a condo right now, you're laughing. 114 sales in January compared to 122 last January.
Right.
So,
the
decrease.
Opposite of what we're seeing in the freehold.
Yeah, and that's on top of decrease.
Right. On top of a decrease,
yeah,
on top of a decrease.
6.5% reduction. Average sale price $250, 406.
That's right.
I can get the details for you. And that's an average sale price decrease of 5.8% over January. Now you got to kind of take these increases and decreases carefully, because it doesn't necessarily mean the whole market's gone down 5%.
No,
it could be just
doesn't.
some higher price ones didn't sell that month or whatever. So you got to take it over a long period. But it's still interesting because it's trending that way.
Right.
Over 3/4 of the sales were under $350.
Right.
Matter of fact, over half of them were under $250.
Right. Okay.
And
which is interesting because the average is $250. So it's just kind of, intriguing.
The inventory, fortunately, is not climbing fast. I think we're kind of saturated out.
That's good. So there's some good news. He's not all bad news. So the sighing is a little...
Yeah. Inventory still went up, 1460 compared to 1430 last year. That's a 2% increase. So fairly stable as far as the amount of inventory compared to previous years, unlike the increase in the freehold.
Right. And then we've seen 530 new properties come on the market.
Yes.
Right? Which is pretty typical.
Yeah, very typical. And again, if you spread it out over the 12 months, about 6.7 months of inventory. Now, if we look at the actual inventory compared to the sales, we're around 12 months of inventory, which is an extreme buyer's market right now. So if you're looking for a condo, we actually have a buyer just signed up with me last week who is looking for a condo. So he's going to have good selection.
Well, we've got quite a few buyers looking for condominiums. So it is not a segment of the market that is disappearing. It's just a market that is being pushed a little bit harder than the freehold market right now. And I think a lot of it is actually the higher end condominiums. So in the more moderate price ranges, it's still moving reasonably well.
Yeah, and I think it's important to know also that the condominium segment is about 1/5 of the overall market. So when the condominiums are suffering, it's not great if you're a condominium owner, and yet it's not indicative. It's about 20% of the market overall.
Right. So 80% is in the freehold segment of the market. And I have an extraordinary home that if it is not already sold, it will be any second. And so you want to pick up the phone quickly and call us. It is in the Algonquin College area. You could actually walk. It's a healthy walk, however you could walk. So it's a starter price range. It's only $325,000. It's a bungalow. It is located right near the Queensway, so really easy access to drive downtown if one person's going to work and one person's maybe going to college. Also an amazing location if you're a student. I know our son, when he was in college, bought a home not far from there and still owns it, in fact, and it became an amazing property he lived in while he was a student, and now it's a great property that lots of students live in. And so just an extraordinary opportunity. Actually has a garage, which for $325,000.
Well, what's extraordinary, really?
Oh, is the yard.
Is the lot, yeah.
Well, it's 100 by 150. So how many of those do you see in the city? A third of an acre? So
a developer may look at this to put on some semis or
there are quite a few on Woodruff in that area. That's exactly what somebody's done. And yet we really like this cute little bungalow still.
Well, you could still pick it up and move it into the country somewhere.
You could just live in it, too.
Well, you could. I'm just saying there's lots of options for this home.
Tons of options. So if any of these options has perked your interest, you'll want to give us a call at 613-860-4663, or you can always email us info@dekkerteam.com, and the subject line is, we don't want to miss it, Woodruff Avenue.
Okay. And we would like you to send in your questions to us.
Yes.
Feel free to give us a call at 613-860-4663 to give us your questions, or you can also email us at dekkerteam@chri.ca. And we'd love to put your question on a future show and answer it to the best of our ability, which I think will be pretty well.
I think we do okay. And as far as the app goes, don't forget about the app. Oh, yeah, in the subject line. You're not allowed to use the email address. It's info@dekkerteam.com because it's not set up yet, as he told you a minute ago. So just subject line app, and we will get you the Dekker Team custom app, which will give you so much amazing information at your fingertips. And if you would like a custom search just of the solds as well as the actives in your neighborhood, just write custom search, and you can even put the details that you want us to include in the search, and we will get that out to you. It is so simple, and we would love to help you with that so you're an informed seller or an informed buyer.
So thanks for joining us on the Inside Track on Real Estate with the Dekker Team. I'm Ken.
And I'm Yetta.
And bye for now.